Hi, good day everyone. My name is O.L.Siang. I am from UMP Malaysia. Today I will discuss about our research topic about the effect of wrist movement on golf putting outcomes. Okay. First of all, I will introduce about the golf putting. Putting is a type of golf stroke that is performed using a club known as a putter. It is performed while golfers are on near the greens. Good puttings may affect the outcome of game by up to 40% by the research. So most of the golfers have no access to their pivot conditions, therefore they are relying on the putting outcome either get in or miss the holes. This is kind of the feedback is very subjective and there is no quantitative data on putting and body movement that can be used by the golfers. So this research is to carry out to investigate the movement of the upper body parts that are involved in the generating putting strokes. The focus of this paper has been narrowed down to the waist. So therefore, the research is carried out by using a MUCET sensor that will position at 3 points along the golfer waist, measure the waist movement during putting strokes. Okay, for methodology, for first parts, the MUCET sensor was attached to the 3 locations along the waist, left side, right side, and the centers so of the mid-handicap golfer to perform a straight putts and the bend putts. So as we can see here, we get some data result in this research based on the figure 4 in middle there and the figure 5. The acceleration in X and Z directions is not very much in the comparison to acceleration in Y directions. So it shows that the most movement happens around the Y directions. So based on the finding suggests that straight putts are more likely if the left side of the waist does not move forwards or back beyond the execution pace. Okay, for the movement of the right side of the waist, so for the MMS sensor was positioned to the right side of the waist. There's a distinct difference between the straight and the bend parts. So as shown in the middle here, the figure 6 and the figure 7, the acceleration for the straight parts are more consistent than the bend parts. So moreover, it was recorded that the tendency to obtain bend parts was higher when the right side of the waist moved in the Z direction during the follow-through stage. So the acceleration for the bend part reduced by about around 0.05 g, which indicates a significant movement in comparison to 0.01 g. Okay, for the last sensors, it was the center sensors, which is the movement of the center of the waist. So when the MMS sensor was placed at the center of the waist, the acceleration is respectively directions are almost identical, which implies that the same movements was recorded for straights and bend parts. The data will show in the figure 8 here and the figure 9. So it shows that it can be seen from the acceleration that decreased during the backswings and bounce back during the execution stage before become stationary throughout the following through stages. Okay, after getting the 3 position of the waist sensor data, so we can conclude that the movement of the waist is to defining the indicates that waist movement influence the putting outcomes, which was either straight or bent parts for these studies. So golfers are needed to launch the balls in the straight parts most of the times, even on the slopes, thus knowing the waist movement is essential. So as a figure 10 on the left corner here, it summarizes the waist movement to obtain a straight parts. Okay, it should be noted the shifting of the pivots during the backswings and the executions, which the right side of was the pivot during the backswings. So and during the executions, the pivots was moved toward the center of the bodies. So the finding is in piece of vital information because it can certainly help golfer to produce the desired rotation while performing the putting strokes. So on conclusions, so this research is emphasize the significance of having numerical data to analyze the putting strokes. So the common feedback that is either the ball get in or miss the holes cannot provide the details such as how the waist should move to obtain a good outcomes. So this experimental result shows that the waist movement is really affect the parting outcomes. So the numerical data from the MMSet sensors on their research is to help the golfer to analyze their waist movement to obtain a straight putts. So besides that, this sensor is also will help in other sports athletes to help them to improve their sport performance. So I think that's all for my presentation today. So thank you everyone, and stay safe.